Imagine how your life would be when you develop this ability. How does it good? How does it sound? This is what we are going to learn now. Your life will always have both positive and negative phases. This is why you need to learn the fastest way out of the negative phases. Try to remember a positive phase is your life. During a positive phase, you eat well, you sleep well, and you read books, exercise, maintain good relationship, and have a good performance at work. Everything seems to be going well until something bad happens. A new manager at your workplace lays on a pointless rules. The political party you despise comes into power and the country seems to be doomed. A knee injury stops you from exercising. The investment you have just made plummets and you lost large amount of money. Your pet gets run over the car when crossing the road. Whatever that initial event is, it causes you to enter a negative phases. And when something bad happens in our life, you may enter a vicious cycle. Since you do not exercise anymore, you lost your motivation to eat well. As a result, you do not feel like reading either. You watch TV until late at night. This affects your sleep and you lose focus on during the day, performing worse at your work. That is why it is called a cycle. One thing leads to another, and suddenly your life is a mess. You lost your motivation. You know pretty well that you should change things up, but you have a hard time doing so. Days and weeks pass by and you still have an inner conflict. On the one hand, you would like things to be different. On the other hand, you don't have the motivation to change. These bad periods happen to everyone. Life is cycle. No one goes through life without problems. That is why it makes no longer sense to try to avoid problems or unwanted events that could trigger a bad phase. Sooner or later, problems will appear inevitably. So, it is a wise to get ourselves out of the negative cycle as fast as possible. The best way to quickly break a vicious cycle is by using the pattern interruption technique. Since bad phases are unavoidable, we are going to learn something that will help you get out of the negative cycle quicker. It is called pattern interruption technique. Interrupting the pattern will not substitute therapy nor will it solve all your problems overnight. But interrupting the patterns helps you to clearly see you are in a vicious cycle and that its goal it can be changed. Interrupting the pattern means that you can do something in the opposite direction of the things you are doing at the moment. For example, in a vicious cycle, you may be doing some negative tasks such as poorly, eating, sleeping poorly, eating unhealthy, procrastinating, not cleaning your house, or exceeding the amount of time you spend in front of your TV, video games, or social networks. These are negative active action feed on one another, trapping you in a negative pattern. So, in order to break the vicious cycle, you have to interrupt one of those patterns and do something radically opposite. Even if you do not feel like it, I will give you an example of something is completely unmotivated and has done nothing right for a week. This person, life is a mess and you can see it in their houses. It has been days since they did the dishes and the floors are dirty. Then suddenly, this person decided to break the cycle. They could start going to the gym again, reading books again, and trying to sleep better. But instead, they simply decided to do dishes, and that interrupts the pattern. The same way, one negative action leads to another. All it takes is one positive action to break a vicious cycle. In this example, I'm doing a small task like washing the dishes. We are interrupting the pattern of vicious cycle. If we may pay attention to the dishes being 100% focused, we can start to break the cycle. There is no point in doing the dishes while your thoughts keep on repeating the message that make you prisoner of the vicious cycle. You need to be present, to focused. If you need help with full present, you can watch episode 164. Hello, I'm Anya. When you realize that you have done something positive, despite being as simple as washing dishes, you can then take the next step. Now you clean the house. An organized house make you want to organize your emails. Ganon. Which make you motivate to start an old job. But in order to be focused at work, you need to sleep better. And by sleeping better, you have more energy to start exercising again, which leads you to eat better. A simple pattern interrupt can make you get out of the negative phase without being have to waste days or even weeks trapped in a vicious cycle. The only barrier you need to overcome is the lack of motivation to do the tiny tasks. When we are vicious cycle, small tasks like doing the dishes can seem challenging. This is why you need to interrupt the pattern in the easiest way you can. Choose one small thing that will break your negative behavioral pattern and do the things even if you do not feel like doing it at the time. The secret interrupting the pattern is this. Take action even with zero motivation. You do not need motivation to take action. What you need is action so you can have motivation. If you are able to take action, you can get out of this paralysis, and you need to act even without motivation. You can do something simple like doing the dishes or going for a walk. Turn on autopilot and start moving. This small motivation action feeds another one, and then you begin to regain the motivation you used to have. Do not set and wait for a motivation to show up in order to take action. Instead, take action now, and simple as that. This is how motivation happens. Interrupting the pattern flips the expected order of things. Instead of having motivation to take action, you take action in order to create motivation. And if you think you always need motivation, first, in order to then take action, think again. You already do things every day without motivation. You do not need to be inspired to brush your teeth, change your clothes, or have lunch. You just do it. So you can also simply decide to do something completely opposite to the cycle behavior pattern. Even though it is a small task, it will interrupt the negative cycle. This is a difficult attitude to take, but once you set in motion, it will tend to stay in motion. Celebrate your small action. Your happiness is built by a small blocks of joy. Remember to celebrate your small action. You can even reward yourself for acting it a positive way. We used to think of happiness as this huge thing that happens. When we accomplish incredible goals in life. But positive psychology, positive psychology proved that this generic and constant happiness is not what happens in your life. Actually, happiness is built by small blocks of joy, the small things in life. When you are in vicious cycle, your mental state sees only negative everywhere. So, that is why celebrating the small wins and being happy for taking action is important. Important part of the pattern interruption technique. By doing this, you combine both the rational and the emotional side of your brain. After all, even during vicious cycle, rational side always knows what you should be doing. The problem is that emotional side is so negative that even though it knows what you have to do, it ends up do nothing. This is the reason why it is so important to reward yourself for the small victories. By being happy for every little steps, you begin to put in small blocks of together and they create a bigger feeling of happiness. This will allow you to take bigger steps, stepping up your action until you are back in your best productivity and positive state of mind. We all have ups and downs, but you intentionally manipulate your action so that the negative phases last the least about the time possible. Meaning, you can quickly return to a better mental state. To do that, you need to interrupt the negative pattern. You need to do something completely opposite to the behavioral patterns you have during a bad phase. This small action will put you in a motion and bring you motivation, which should be celebrated as a small victory. The combination of those small victories will put you back into the state of productivity and happiness you deserve. With this, which will help you stay in positive mindset for as long as possible, avoiding the vicious cycle. You can participate in happiness project now. Thank you. Annyeong.